Um, all right. So for the last topic for the day, now I'm trying to avoid talking about this man only because he's a hot topic literally every day right now because of his trial. And we've talked about Diddy so many times on these live streams, but we're gonna talk about it one more time, but again from a different angle. So let me share my screen, and we about to dissect this because now this comes from the shade room. And Suge Knight urges Diddy to testify and try in order to humanize himself of all people. So Suge Knight basically urged him to tell the truth. I guess to humanize himself during the proceeding. Feel like he does this, he could really walk. Puffy goes up there and says, "Hey, I did all the drugs. I wasn't in control of myself at the time." Or you can humanize his old self, and jury might give him a shot. Knight, who's serving a 28-year sentence for a 2015 hit and run, warned that staying silent could hurt Combs' case. But if they keep him sitting down, it's like he's scared to face the music. He should just have his faith in God, put up his pants, and go up there and tell the truth. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation, prostitution, and all that stuff. All right, let's run back through it before we end off for the day. What does this have to do with mental health? So again, the study of how we act, think, and feel. Never thought I'd say this. I agree with Suge Knight. I agree with his logic of saying, look, the jig is up, which is actually a logic that I believe in real life. Because sometimes people be doing stuff, sneaky, underhanded stuff, and God's grace lasts only for so long. Because as we've seen, we're in a year of exposure. So when you're doing stuff you ain't supposed to be doing, it's gonna come out. And you always get a grace to do it. It's even biblically proven. You always get warned several times privately. Then God's gonna send somebody to warn you publicly, or hey, send somebody to warn you, like, hey, stop what you're doing. And because God is so good, it's always more than once on both sides. And then if you don't listen to that, that's when the exposure comes. So all this stuff Diddy was doing, even in the Bible, them people was doing them stuff for decades before judgment came. And they just had no conviction. So I agree with Suge Knight. He should go up there and just be like, look, y'all, like Dan Snyder did with all that stuff. He just, even though people, nobody believed it, he was still like, look, I did it. I was at a bad time in life. Just you was on drugs. People not themselves when they was on drugs. I mean, I'm not agreeing with nothing he did because that was some wild stuff. He proved once again, as I always say, this is what happens when niggas be too horny. You keep seeing that, and let's keep being an issue. To learn, people just watching, learn that now. What happens when you too horny? But I say that Diddy just being quiet. Maybe he just trying to process it and take it all in because maybe he really thought he wasn't gonna ever get caught. What's your take on all this?
I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth. Okay.
I plead the fifth.
He plead the fifth. Like I said, for me,
yeah,
it's no point to keep going in on it only because it's been talked for now.
Yeah, it's deep
over a year. It's a lot going on. But again, if we extract what's going on, WWID, what would I do in this situation? So my logic in real life, as I said, and I tell people, like, if the jig is up, just go ahead and tell on yourself. Just go ahead and own it, because when you own it, you're taking back, you're taking power over the situation. Because right now, in his case, he's powerless. But if you just own up to what you did and atone for your sins, there's gonna be people that don't believe you, but at least if you did something you weren't supposed to be doing, you could come back from it. Because and we actually discussed it with somebody weeks ago when I asked a tough question. I said, do y'all think Diddy can be redeemed? And I said, yes, because as long as you are on this earth, anybody can be redeemed. Anybody. Nobody, when people say, oh no, he went too far, he might not be able to be redeemable in your eyes, but in the eyes of God, if you're still alive, you can be redeemed. So, and most people don't want to hear that, but it is what it is. It doesn't mean I agree or condone what he did. No. But in this situation, if I was in Diddy's case, I would just go ahead and tell it. And then if I was Suge Knight and I had a friend like, hey, bro, block hot.